Hi, welcome to Jenna Guides. In this episode I'm going to talk about reasons why you'd want to build your own computer. First, I just want to share a little bit of personal experience. I've been a heavy computer user for years, and I never built one until just a couple months ago. It was an awesome learning experience, and I saved quite a bit of money, and I have an incredibly high-performing computer at the moment, something I couldn't even buy at any retail store in my area. The best way to explain the cost savings is just to jump into an example. Here we're looking at a retail site with their higher-end computers starting at $1,400 and with various options going all the way up to $2,200. There you can kind of glance at the specs. Let me show them again. You got a third generation i7 chip, 12 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabyte hard drive, 32 gigabyte SSD, and a AMD graphics card, the 7770, with 2 gigabytes of GDDR5. So let me kind of scroll down and give you a little bit more on specs. It's also got a combination DVD CD-ROM drive. It's got the Intel chipset 877. It's a mini tower form factor. It's got various network cards, all that you would expect, plus Bluetooth. And then it's got, actually you get your choice between that AMD or NVIDIA card. Obviously in the upper advertisements they're promoting the AMD. And you got all your standard ports, 460 watt power supply. Now let's check out another site that specializes in selling you computer parts to go ahead and build your own. Not really going to address what's required. You'll probably get a good feel for that as we go through this. But it generally takes 8 items, and those 8 items in pieces cost you just under $1,100. But I'm actually buying quite a few components in this build that are better than what you saw in the retail build. So let's go through them. The first thing is the case, and this case happens to come with a 500 watt power supply, which is 40 watts more than what that retail version was offering. Not a big difference though in power supply, and both appear to be using a rather generic low-end, as far as quality goes, power supply, which tend to not have the stability of some of your higher-end, higher-rated power supplies. So not a big difference. But this case is a mid-tower case. That other was a mini case. The mid-tower case provides you a whole lot more space, and in the long run that's important. That's a cost saver as you start to expand your computer. You want to add more drives, you want to put in a bigger motherboard, you want to overclock, and so you need a higher quality cooling solution, maybe even a water cooling solution. That stuff's just not going to fit into your smaller case. Not to mention, cooling is much better in a larger case to begin with. You got larger fans, you got more air, better airflow. It's overall a much better solution. So you can see you got tons of space for various drives in this computer case. You got a sharp window so you can stare in and look at your components. You can put LED fans in there, kind of pimp it out, make it cool. So to kind of give you guys an idea of the difference in size, I'm going to show you this shot with a mini over on the left. In the center is a mid-tower, and on the right is my new baby in a full tower case. So big difference just between the mini and mid-tower cases. Yeah, that one looks a little stripped out. I'm in the middle of a case mod working on a project with my daughter. But you get a good feel in this shot of the size difference, and that goes to expandability. If you buy the retail model, you got this small case, you can't do a whole lot with it, and I'm not even going to go into some of the things they do inside these retail model cases that just make them impossible to work with, let alone expand upon. So let's transition and start looking at the motherboard I selected for this slightly less than $1,100 build. Here you have it, and this one is different from the other in that it has the Intel Z77 chipset. You might recall from the retail version that had the H77. So the Z77, if you don't know, is a slightly better, newer chipset. You can see it has all the same standard ports as the other one, and I did not notice in the retail version if it had PCI slots or not. Well, actually, I did notice that they did not mention it, and therefore I assume that it doesn't, because that's an important aspect of a computer's expandability, whether or not it has PCIe slots. So probably this card also comes with a much greater expansion capability than the card in the retail. Next, you'll notice that we have the exact same video card, and look at this RAM solution. You're getting 16 gigabytes instead of the 12 gigabytes that's in the retail version. Additionally, the retail version mentions that it's 4 DIMMs, so I assume it's giving you somehow 3 gigabytes across 4 different chips. Maybe it's giving you 3 times 4. It is DDR3. I'm not sure. However, in this solution, you're getting more RAM, and you're only using 2 RAM chips. Therefore, you can just add additional RAM chips and not have to throw away RAM later in order to upgrade. Then you notice we also have a Blu-ray DVD drive combo, and look at the SATA card, the SSD. This is 128 gigs, 4 times larger than the 32 gigabyte SSD in the retail model. And last, let's look at the hard drive I've chosen for this build. This is a 3 terabyte hard drive with all the same performance specs as a 2 terabyte in the retail model. So an entire terabyte more space. And here you have the chip that I chose, the exact same chip that's in the retail version. So for a couple $100 less, you're getting more RAM, more SSD card, more motherboard, more hard drive space, a better case, and what you don't have in this build is the Wi-Fi Bluetooth, which can be important, especially if you want to do a media server with your home computer and don't want to have to mess around with cables. But that's also an easy fix, especially with those expansion slots. You can get that capability in card form and add it to this computer if it's important to you, or choose a motherboard that actually has it. So I hope this gives you a good idea on why building your own computer is a great idea, and in later videos I'll go more into really the choices that matter in a new computer build.